Today we're super excited to have Sandy MacKay on Sales Leads podcast for all our listeners. He's our business partner, mentor, leader at MacKay Realty Network. We're really pumped to be talking with him kind of about what he's built, the history of him in real estate and further and beyond. So thanks so much for coming on today, Sandy.
Excited to be here. Should have been the first show, I think, but I'll settle for whatever number this is.
Yeah, so for anyone that doesn't know, Sandy's the reason I'm in the business right now. So Sandy, I don't know if you know this, Anna, but he sold me a house probably 5 years ago at this point. Showed up wearing a t-shirt, shorts, flip-flops. I think I probably bought the first thing he showed me. And I just thought, this is the most awesome life in the world. I need to go and do what this guy's doing. Fortunately for me, I've had the opportunity to enter your world, and I've realized it's not as simple as I thought it was. It's way more involved. And there's anyone that's, I think, really taken their business to the next level and created a lot of opportunity for everyone around them, it's you. So yeah, thank you for that.
It's harder, but it's probably even cooler than you thought. I think at the end of the day, right? There's a lot of cool stuff you can do in this business.
100%. It's awesome. So we always want to start. I know people see you now. You're very successful. You have a massive team, fourth in the country at this point.
Well, hopefully we'll be top 3, top 2 by the time this episode comes out.
Could be.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I would think it would be top 3 at least. Let's go top 3 at least in the company. Yeah.
So when I met you, you weren't as big of a deal as you are today. And the amazing thing about you, you haven't been in the business that long. So I think I met you year 3, maybe.
Probably year 3, yeah. Because I think I was probably just on my own, right? I think at that time. Yeah. So that would have been the year 3, probably not even year 3, maybe end of year 2 type of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would have been what, 5? That would have been 4 years ago, probably.
So tell us a little bit about how you got started. I know you started with Mark Loeffler. What did your first couple of years look like in terms of volume?
Yeah, so I came in the industry with a bit of knowledge of real estate in general, like investment side of it, and which is how I got connected. Kate, my wife Kate, and both of us got connected with Mark Loeffler through like some investment networks and that. So we had a few properties and kind of knew a bit about real estate, but really didn't know a lot about realtor, the realtor version of real estate, aside from working with a couple of realtors. So a lot to learn out of the gate. You know, it's one thing to know, you know, having sold some properties or bought some properties. It's another thing to like help others do that and get into their whole world of generating leads and business and steady flow of business, that sort of thing. So yeah, started out, that would be 2014, so we're a little over 6 years now. And yeah, I joined up with Mark there. Basically, I joined as I actually was an ISA, really, inside sales associate for like 2 months. Because I was waiting to get my license and I was kind of in between things at the time and I didn't have much else to do. So yeah, he paid me, I can't even remember now, something pretty much nothing, but pay me whatever he paid me to make calls and start to follow up and get some appointments and that for him. So I think I did that all day for like a month and a half, 2 months. Yeah, I would have joined his team officially June as a realtor, June 2014. And I can throw in a really quick story. Very first day that I got my license, second day they got my license, sold the house actually. And there was an open house and they were like, it was a wild open house. We had so many people through. We had like 7 offers or something on the property. And one of them was mine that I met at the open house. And it was like instant surge of like excitement and stuff. You can see it was a quick closing, like 20 days. So it was like, I'm expecting to not make money for like 4 months. And it was like, holy crap, I'm going to get maybe paid in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And anyways, really briefly, never closed. Firm deal, never closed. Got my heart broken there on the very first deal. And didn't close because the seller, not my client, I guess it was Mark's client. I was representing the buying side. The seller went into like mental hospital basically the next week after it sold firm. And could not get a hold of him for 3 weeks. Nobody could. He could only, like, doctor orders, he could only talk to his lawyer. And yeah, it was, so I got right out of the gate with like a kind of a, not real, I don't know if it was a failure necessarily, but it was a definitely a bit of a gut punch. And then I went on to do, like, I think I sold a couple relatively quick, like in the next 30 days or so, but then literally went on a run of I remember 7 consecutive mutual release deals. So we'd have a conditional offer, mutual release, 7 in a row, all different clients. So we were getting clients, obviously, to make offers and stuff. I was not very good at sealing the deal and making it actually come together. And you know, various reasons, right? Investment properties, so selling them on it, then going through inspections and not firming up, things like that. So kind of in a good way, got that out of the way pretty early, and learned how you know, it was a little more challenging than I was thinking it was going to be to get deals over the finish line. And so it was a rough few months at the beginning, I guess I would say, probably like most people encounter. You know, you don't really know what you're doing, so you're not able to have those conversations properly and guide the people really at the level that you probably should be, or that you can down the road once you learn a little more. And yeah, for like the first 4 or 5 months, then it was a bit tough. End of that year though, I think probably in November that year, so it'd be 4 or 5 months in, started to get a little bit of momentum going. I don't remember exactly what I would have done that year in terms of sales, less than 10 at the end of the day. And then that next calendar year, sold 51, and then that would be 2015. And then into 2016, I was only with the team again for another 3 4 months. And then I don't remember what I would have sold there in that first part of the year, but that year was kind of transitioning, right? We went on to do our own team in March, which is mostly myself for that year. And I think we went and sold about 47, 48 in that first year, transitioning onto my own. And then, yeah, I added like 1 agent towards the end of that year and some administrative support. And then, you want me to go the whole way? I can go all the way up to present day, or do you want to stop there?
I think I know what happened after that. So after that,
that's when I brought you on, and then I hope everything changed.
House again in your life.
Yeah.
Always weren't you? So you brought on a total rookie, and just got out of the business. Not got out of the business, but stopped selling houses. So.
Well, I was honestly not that good at listings. Like I could do them. Not even that I was not good. I just wasn't all excited about taking them on, to be honest. And I was pretty good when I did those 50 odd sales in that 2015. I think maybe every one, but maybe 1 or 2 were buyers, right? So a lot of investor clients, a lot of buyers, which, you know, it was a lot of time and effort into those, because buyers do take quite a bit of time to work with. But didn't do a whole lot of listings, so I didn't have a lot of experience, and started to take some listings on my own once I went on my own, but it wasn't really my favorite part of the job. And so that's when I think I recommended for you to go and take some listings and go through that work, because we did need someone to take them at a higher level. Like at that point I had, I think, did we have come on, was that 2015 or 2016? I think 2016 maybe. 17, I think.
I'll always remember that. We were at Democracy. I wanted nothing more than to just come in, be an investor agent like you.
Yeah.
And I think Kate, that was probably the second time I'd ever met Kate in my life. You guys sat me down and said, hey, you're going to be a listing agent. I remember driving home that day, I called Dee.
You were like crying.
Everything's going wrong. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. I'm the exact opposite of you. If I never had to work with a buyer again in my life and only work with listings, no. I mean,
listings is a real game to learn. If you can learn listings, it's the better way. It's a better skill set, I think, to learn overall. Like if you can have a lot of listings, you're always going to have steady flow of income coming in this business, and it's a little more skill set, like a little more. I think there's a higher level scripting and stuff needed to get that process nailed down. So it's worthwhile to learn that, I think, for sure. And you also get to learn a little bit more how to lead people. I find, leading them through that process. There's sometimes some more emotions involved, ups and downs with that along the way. So we must have done, so I must have done, yeah, that first year we would have done about 47, 48 deals, me and I did probably 30 something. And then I would have had someone else do about 10. And then the next year brought on a bunch more agents. So you would have came on the end of that year, September, October range. And then I think we did about 100 and change that year, like 115 sales overall as a group. We had 3 or 4 agents to do all that. I was still mainly just doing listings at that point, and a couple of our kind of top investor clients. And then really started building out more of the administrative back end sales or back end of the team at that point. And then when you came on, Mike, and we started to work on doing more listings, then I know you went on a binge with doing a lot of listing appointments. And that I think we had some inside sales support at that point, probably just starting it and booking a lot of appointments. And so you were doing that, and we had some others doing more the investor and buyer side. I think that's really when I started, at least, to step out a little more and then focus on building out more of the, helping at least build out more of the back end systems and everything. And then, so that would be going into 2018, where we would have done about, actually that year was actually it wasn't a big growth year. We really only did about 130 or so sales. So it went up like by 15, 20 sales. It wasn't a huge growth spurt, but it was more like a year to start building out some of the back end and getting that going. So kind of took a little pause probably from the sales side. And then we did about 2019. So we did probably 227 if we include leases which would be last year. And then ups and downs with sales people and all that sort of thing. And then, we'll do over 300 this year, 2020. And that's where we're at. And so I kind of stepped out of the sales side quite a bit over the last year and a half, 2 years, to more lead the team and work on some other stuff and, build some other opportunities for everyone in our team.
Awesome. So I want to touch on like your leadership qualities. First of all, you're very studious. Like that's what I find about you. Like, what do you credit to that? And what are some of the things that you look for when you're trying to implement things into the team?
I do like to learn a lot as part of it, despite the fact that I kind of fizzled out in my schooling career because I kind of got bored with everything. I do like to, self-educate a lot and learn. I think, as much as I can, I like to start my day with that, at least for, even 10, 20 minutes, reading a book, listening to something to get you inspired for the day and learn something new, maybe to take into your day. I think when I shifted my mind around that is when I got really habitual around that, where it was like, not just doing that for the sake of myself, but kind of doing that for the sake of, having a lot of people around you. You start to realize you constantly have to outpace them in some way, shape or form, like to stay up with them or ahead of them in terms of leadership, growth, all that stuff. So when you get amazing people in your world, like you two, and you're seeing like thriving in different aspects, when you wake up in the morning, you go, crap, I better show up and do something about this, or else ultimately you're going to outgrow whatever I'm doing, and you're going to go on and do something else probably. So, spending a lot of time on that each morning and doing it for others really is a little more motivating than just doing it for yourself. So got pretty habitual, I guess, around that, and just taking a bunch of different courses, getting, really finding the right people to be around and shape your environment, like making sure your environment is something that's motivating and exciting to work in every day, I think is huge. So just really spent a lot of time focused on that, and then bringing the right people in to just even make that even better and more exciting.
Yeah, I think me and Anna have had this conversation before. I told you. So I think because you're so growth focused, I have a different fear, but a very similar fear. I fear that if I don't continue to grow and keep pace with you, I'll become irrelevant in your world. So it's the same kind of thing. And I totally agree with you. If you don't grow, people are going to look for opportunities elsewhere.
People want to be a part of something of growth, right? That's like you talk about, like, what's the biggest for people building teams and stuff, what's the biggest way to retain good talent and stuff is to grow, because everyone wants to be a part of a winning team. You don't get people leaving top any, like use any reference you want, big businesses or sports teams and stuff. Nobody wants to leave a winning team. You don't even have to have that great of like, you know, culture or whatever there. As long as if you're winning, it's very, very hard for people to leave that. Probably culture and stuff like that's a factor in why they're succeeding in the first place. But, you know, there can be things that go wrong. There can be a lot of things that go wrong. As long as you're growing and exceeding things, that's exciting to be around, right? So people want to be around then, be a part of it.
For sure.
I think to add to that too is creating opportunity. Like you're so on top of that and making sure that there's always opportunity for whoever wants to take it. And you really push every single day, like, hey, like if you're not going to step in, then step out, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think, you know, and in the same note, probably some of my bigger failures have been like, you know, when you have not only just people, but even the same things you're doing and habits and stuff, that if they're probably hanging on to things too long in a lot of cases where, you know, you don't pivot quick enough or you don't have tough conversations with people soon enough. Those are probably some of the bigger failures that actually kind of stagnate some growth a little bit at times. So probably getting better at that, but still some times where, you know, that's probably a bit of a flaw that we could work on. But, you know, that's, you know, you learn that as you go, right? You probably wouldn't learn that if I was staying kind of, you know, being complacent.
I think, I don't know if you feel this way, but you don't have, like, those conversations are tough. And I would say both of us are not overly confrontational people. But something I see you doing that I think is very impressive, you bring people into your world and put them in positions, and they almost compensate for your weaknesses. Like you don't like having confrontational conversations with people, so you bring in a Bo Spencer. Problem.
Yeah.
Or you bring in an Adrian, or you bring in an Anna.
Well, I mean, you have to, that's part of like team building and anything, right? You have to have complementary. I mean, that's even like spouses and stuff in life, right? It's there has to be some form of complement. Like if people are the exact same, it maybe can work. You have some similar interests probably, and you can kind of gather around that. But at some point some area of life, you're going to lose a lot because nobody's taking on that role of whatever it is, right? It could be different things depending on what we're talking about, but same thing with spouses, team members, teammates. You need to have complementary roles there, right? The Alexander Ovechkin, for example, in the NHL, like he scores a lot of goals. You need someone to pass on the puck and score, right, all the time. I don't know if people know, like Nick Backstrom, I guess, would be his center, that he has so many assists. Ovechkin has so many goals every year. You know, that just works, right? Having those two complementary assets is huge.
Yeah, I find too with you, when you bring these complementary people in, you almost totally get out of their way. Here's another story. So we would come down to the investor events before I was part of this team, and I would ask you a question about one of the projects, and your answer would be, I don't know. Let me give Kate a call, or you'll have to ask Kate that. Your knowledge of renovations and what was going on within your projects wasn't it wasn't what I was expecting, we'll say. Like that was in hands, and you knew she was doing a good job and she took care of it. And I think the same thing applies to our business now. You leverage and you really trust people to do a good job and stay out of their way.
Yeah, it's good and bad. I mean, at times you can go over the top with that probably. I think, you know, having that trust, I mean, if you're not going to trust someone you hire to do something, if not right away, then in a pretty short order, like why are you hiring that person, or why are you getting business with that person in the first place, right? Like you need to have some faith that they can do the job and let them screw up, because they're going to screw up and that's how they're going to learn and grow faster. If you just keep holding their hands or overstepping and doing it all for them, it's never going to lead to anything positive at the end of the day, because you know they're gonna feel micromanaged, or they're just not going to grow, and you're going to be stuck doing it forever, right? So I think almost everything day to day, almost everything, not everything, but most things day to day, I usually have a second thought, or usually a second thought where I go like, if I do this, because there's a million things to the day where I go, I could easily fix this, or I could easily, you know, overstep this person to go get the answer to this type of thing. but what does that do long term, right? If I go just fix it, like there's a whole lot of things I see screwed up. Very simple like cases are like data entry type things that are in a spreadsheet or something that we're working on, tracking deals or whatever. So many times you can see a little error there and like you can just fix it, but then if I go fix it, nobody learns from that, right? Or nobody, it's just going to keep happening, and I don't want to be doing data entry forever like that. So I often just let things fall apart a bit, because then that whoever's involved in that will learn from it, right? And it's probably keeps me out of like doing everything that I don't want to do forever.
Yeah, I was with Sam the other day, one of the guys on our team, and you were away at the cottage on vacation. Sam had a question for you, so I asked him, like, Sandy's away, why don't you just leave him alone? And Sam's like, no, I know he'll pick up the phone, so I'm just gonna call him anyway. And normally you do, but I remember this one time you went away on vacation and you told all of us not to call you, not because you didn't want to hear from us, but because you wanted the systems to break. So when you get back from vacation, you could have a clear picture of what needed to be fixed and how you fix it. So you don't seem to be afraid of things breaking at all.
I think that's where a lot of people, not just real estate wise and other, other industries and stuff, that's where probably people fail a bit. Like, because if you keep your hands in everything all the time and you're afraid to, you're being a perfectionist is kind of a pretty big flaw in a lot of cases. I think it's fine to want things nice and, be done well, obviously, but, in any sort of growth, you're going to have issues all the time. Like every day, there's a million issues going on all the time in all of our worlds probably. And you got to be okay with that happening, because if you want everything to be perfect, you're not going to do much. You're going to do very minimal. You're not going to have a big life, because there's just too many mistakes that are going to happen in a growth spurt, right? And so if you want to grow, you got to get okay with that and just let it happen. And don't let them get too big of. Don't let them be catastrophic, but let the little things go and have them break. And either you've realized through that, then fix it, or someone else in your world is going to realize it and know that's their world to fix, and they'll learn from it, right? You have to let that happen. Probably it's a big struggle for people in team building stuff, for sure. In real estate world, huge struggle for people to get over that hump.
So I wanted to ask you, like, we've already been talking about this for a bit, but aside from like lack of opportunity, maybe like the micromanaging aspect side of things, what are some things that you really see hindering growth, whether in an organization or in an individual?
I would say, well, definitely that micromanagement or not letting people fail. Not hiring the right people probably is a big thing. Having people that aren't growth minded as well, and not letting, like, I think if you really have the right people, you're going to let them, you basically just stay out of the way the whole time. You don't really you have to have leadership conversations, right? Not management conversations. So your conversations are week to week with those types of people. It should just be around how can you help them and support them. It shouldn't be hey, you're doing this, can you do this next time, do this. Like, it's not management and leadership are the two really opposite ends of the spectrum there. And you really should, anytime you find yourself doing any sort of management or any consistent management with someone, it's probably not the right person, because you shouldn't be managing them, and they shouldn't need management, because they should be owning the role enough that you just have to lead them and continually look for opportunities to get them, in places where they can grow and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think a lot of people focus on management and managing people day to day, and that's not going to get you to grow. That's going to be a recipe for kind of staying where you are and having people constantly leaving because they're not growing, right? And everybody wants to grow in some way, whether they say that or even people that you wouldn't think that. There's some place in the world where they could be in the right position where they want to grow and are excited about showing up every day. So maybe it's either the wrong person in the wrong role and they're not excited about it, or they're being managed and not led. I think those are some of the bigger things there. And finding the right people for the right roles is no easy task either, right? So taking time and hiring people, that's a huge one, especially for realtors who, a lot of top salespeople are, they want things done quick, and it's good and bad. taking the time to get to know someone, what's motivating them. It's like dealing with a seller, right? In real estate, if you don't understand what their motivation is and why they want to sell and move on, then when you go to those conversations and you're trying to, you have a good deal for them and you're trying to get them to accept it because it's the best thing for them and they don't want to because they want more money or whatever. That's where you tie it into the motivation, right? And you have to lead them through that. So it's the same with dealing with a team member. How do you lead them? It's through what's their motivation and inspiration, not what you want, but what do they want? And so you can learn that through just spending time with them, but how much better is it if you just know it up front going in and you can hit the ground running from day one?
And how did you learn that? Was it through a negative experience where you were mentored by someone, or is there someone that you look up to that does a great job?
I mean, I can think like Keller Williams for sure has been the biggest impact on that for me. And that's just, there's a lot of different things in Keller Williams around that, but I would say just the environment and the opportunities and stuff that exist in the company for starters has been massive. I'm not really like, some people are really skeptical. I'm not very skeptical. So when someone says, I got a training event or I'm hearing about people doing something, like I'm pretty much going to take it. If I see them doing great things, I'm going to kind of take it as it is and just go with it and do it and copy it or, that sort of thing versus go try and do it always our own way and try and create something from scratch. I think learning how to do that and just copying things from people has been pretty impactful. Keller Williams is amazing for that because it's very, very much a sharing collaborative culture. So that's been massive, not just for our realtor team, but even like, having Kate, my wife, involved in the company for a while and then allowing her to go on to some other things. She's been able to run our property management business pretty well for the last almost 3 years, I guess, 2+ years for sure, where it's growing pretty fast because she's taking the same things she's learned in this company and just in a different business, but same rules apply, right? So she's been able to really grow that fast based on that. So, you got to keep open-minded and keep learning and just being around the right environment to learn that stuff and take it in and just, I don't know, kind of be a slave to those models and systems that are out there that someone's already screwed up enough to perfect or to at least have them running at a high level.
Mike said this before, it's like you're taught in school, like not to copy each other's homework and all of that, but very much in business, building an organization and building anything, it's such a like rip off and duplicate, like just follow in the footsteps of what other people are doing and it should work. Right?
That's why sometimes the dumbest people get ahead really fast because they just copy and they're okay with it.
That's okay too.
I think some people are so I don't know, you gotta be a little, it's very tough to get it in life if it's totally by the book all the time, right? You gotta be okay with, I don't know, I don't think it's a bad thing at all to copy, like it's not copying or asking for permission or just seeing what they're doing and modeling. It's really modeling. It would probably be a better word than copying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to do that. And why go through all the hassle that someone else has already gone through? And why have it take a year to figure it out when you can just figure it out in a day, right? By calling and asking for help. I think that's probably another thing I didn't hit on here is just going out and asking for help and seeking that. That's probably something not really in my wheelhouse, like natural abilities to do a lot of, but you get people around you that do that pretty well and it can rub off on you a lot. I think, some of the smartest people in the world are actually pretty accessible and want to help people as well. And just going and seeking out, information from them. I don't know, if people come and seek out information from me, I'm going to try to help. Maybe I can't in every single scenario, but if they bug me enough, I'm going to answer and do something with it. And so same thing, you can go to all the way to Donald Trump, like probably one of the most famous people in the world. If you really want to access him and get a conversation with him in some way, you probably can figure it out. Might take you a while, but just constantly going through and finding out how to get in front of these people and ask them some questions. People generally want to help people in this world. So not being afraid to do that is pretty big too. I think most people are way too passive and kind of shy in doing that, but that can be a big factor too, in getting yourselves, kind of forcing yourselves into that environment.
Yeah, like I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure you had a similar experiences. Like you come into this world where you see all these people like having massive success, like being young and in the business, and you kind of put them up on a pedestal, and then eventually you learn like these are just regular people. Like they talk like me, they walk like me, they're ready and open, and you got to take advantage of that for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, putting people on too big of a pedestal is a tough, like you got to overcome that. They're just people, just people.
So I want to switch gears a little bit. You mentioned to us that you're going to be starting a new podcast. So I want you to give us a little bit of a plug, talk about it, kind of what we can expect, and hopefully our listeners can also tune in.
So by the time this airs, maybe it will be out already. We'll see. But team building show for Canadians. Pretty excited to be launched that. I have been doing podcast stuff for it's getting close to 7 years almost now. So 6.5 years, where we've been doing our Breakthrough Real Estate Investing show, where we talk a lot about investing in real estate, and we got 130-ish episodes of that out now. So lots of content there to listen to. But starting a new one, the team building show for Canadians, which is going to be all about helping realtor teams grow and succeed, and just build bigger teams, better teams that can service the world better. So I think the cool part about it is it's going to be Canadian based. So we're going to interview a lot of different teams around the country, all over the country, that are, what are the best practices and what are they doing to grow their teams in Canada? So what systems are they using? What kind of leadership are they providing? What does the models look like? And as well as some brokerages too. So, what are the top real estate companies in the country doing, and how can we learn from them? That's really going to be the base of it. And I think, the coolest thing is just making it Canadian based, because you can go about, you can go find some great content on that already, and a lot of it's going to be US based. So I think having a Canadian flavor to that should be pretty interesting, and be able to be a platform for some of these great teams around the country to kind of share what they're doing to grow, and to something that we can all learn from. So it'll be fun. I think we're going to be I'm just finalizing the schedule for it, so maybe I'll be wrong in saying this, but it should be out live every Wednesday mornings. I'm not exactly sure the timing yet. But if they look up teambuildingshow.com or teambuildingshow.ca or Facebook Team Building Show, you'll be able to find that. Team Building Show for Canadians on Facebook. You'll be able to see that and get to join in on it, watch us live, and also the podcast will be somewhere. I don't know yet. Probably on teambuildingshow.com.
Yeah, we'll make sure to link it somewhere once we get that in for you. Thanks.
Is that KW only, or?
No, we'll go outside of that. Yeah, and everyone. I don't think, there's some awesome people having great businesses that are not KW. KW isn't even all over the country yet, so I think there's definitely some great teams out there that kind of follow the same models and stuff as us, but maybe just don't have it in their area, or just choose to be at a different company for whatever reason. I think there's a whole bunch of those. So there's not going to be any company specific, just people doing cool stuff in real estate, and how can we learn from them.
That's awesome.
So for MRN, obviously big history there. We kind of chatted about it at the beginning. We've got 7 companies ish that we're kind of involved in now. Yeah,
we have a I guess over the last maybe 3-4 years, we started a bunch of different companies. Real estate, obviously, with the realtor team, property management, investment company, construction, property management, virtual professionals, a few different versions of virtual professionals, cleaning company, marketing. Done a lot of different things. Not all of them have succeeded wildly, but I think the average business, I don't know, what are the numbers? 1 out of 5 maybe that are successful. I think we're batting a lot higher than that, at least. So I think we're doing okay. A lot of them are with partners, and so I still spend my time day to day on the realtor team, and doing that. And then, like I said earlier, there, Kate, my wife, runs the property management company, and then we've got a few other partners running other companies. So that's all really stemmed from, the realtor team, I guess, as at the start. And then real estate's a pretty interesting business. There's so many different elements to it, right? And so it's finding great people to kind of find some holes in our systems or businesses, and just kind of, how do we fill that hole? Well, we can outsource it for a while. Maybe we can outsource it long term, or maybe we can find a way to bring that in house and have an opportunity for someone to run with that. So that's pretty much how they've all formed.
What do you foresee? What's the next couple gaps that you want to follow?
Well, we're definitely, hopefully, if this is depending on this airs, hopefully we'll have our brokerage launched. That will be in Vaughan, on Keller Williams brokerage, Keller Williams Legacies. That's exciting right now. Spending a lot of time with that and getting that launched. So that'll be one thing, and then hopefully, kind of flowing off of that into some more brokerages as we grow that with the group we have, and also building up those. So we've brought on some expansion teams, which we just spent all day working on there, Anna with them, and figuring out more so what that looks like into some different cities. So right now we'll be in, as of today, 5 different areas around Southern Ontario, and hopefully moving on from that into some even more across the country, and really kind of taking those, at least the 4 main companies we have that are like mainly in real estate, like the realtor company, the property management, construction, and investment, like those all kind of flow together. So bringing those, we have a landscaping company too. I forgot to mention that one, but kind of bringing those companies across to different cities and different, probably not different countries, but at least different cities and different, maybe different countries, different cities, different provinces for sure. And just having some opportunities for others in different cities. We do a lot of investment stuff, right? So having access to a lot of capital through that, and like opportunities to invest in properties like Hamilton, where we've done a lot of our investments so far. It's an awesome city for investing, lots of opportunities, and yet it's still a little bit challenging to find deals from time to time, right? So if we expand our networks that way and have other people out there sourcing deals in that, we can all of a sudden, if we have a deal come across our desk every hour or every day or every 10 minutes, a good deal every 10 minutes, we're not going to have enough. Well, we might, but we're going to need a lot of money to be able to work all those. And we're going to need a lot of people, and all those companies can kind of grow into those other cities together, perhaps, is what we're kind of looking at. So really kind of building a real big real estate empire with different divisions, and kind of vertical integration would be the word I would call it, with different companies all kind of feeding off each other.
So I don't know if you have a question, but I have a question. So obviously your role within MRN has changed like pretty much every year. So like last year you were really heavily involved with the recruiting and stuff, and then I told you to kind of step out of that. And then before that you were really in the realtor side of things. Where do you see your role kind of going, like further and beyond? Like, do you want to step out eventually? What does that look like for you?
I'm not gonna sit here and say I'd never want to retire necessarily, because I don't know if that's true. A lot of people like to say that. Might be true, but it might not be. You know what? I really follow. One person I really like to follow a lot is Adam Hergenrother. He's in Vermont, one of the top teams in Keller Williams and in real estate in general in the U.S. He likes to talk about spending a third of his time working, a third learning, and a third playing, and kind of a model you could probably work for the rest of your life, and kind of making sure not necessarily every day is going to be a third, but if you look at the course of like a month, what does your calendar look like, and have you spent a third of your time in those 3 areas, or have you been like 99% or 90% work and only 10% or 5% learning and playing type of thing? And so I think a lot of people get really honed down on the business side and forget about maybe not the learning, but they might forget about the playing, that kind of incorporates family and having fun, traveling, things like that, and experiencing life. Like, I think that's an important piece to the whole equation of having a fulfilling, like maybe a wealthy lifestyle is having some great experiences and having fun along the way. So I would say in the last, starting to get better at it, but probably for sure a couple years previous to this one, probably spent a lot of time working and probably learning, but not a lot of time playing sort of thing. Like, probably would spend a lot of time during my day, 75% plus, working a lot of times. And even, what real estate's like sometimes, where it's even on the weekends and evenings and stuff, you're kind of spending time with family, but you're not really there, because you're thinking about the call or the text or whatever that you just got. So trying to just balance that out a little better, I think, is something that I'm working on. And so, fast forward a few years down the road, I think probably just leading at some point, leading all that stuff they talk about, leading in some way the brokerages probably, and also our team as we keep growing. But I'm not exactly sure what that might look like. I might be passing that off to people as we grow, obviously too. So really just finding ways to add value to our team and our businesses as we continue to grow, and then making sure everyone in that is having also like a balanced lifestyle like I talked about, and being able to spend time with family and have some fun experiences and stuff like that. So I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. It's probably going to evolve, but I think as long as I'm doing that and able to, spend the time, like I mentioned there, a third, that's kind of the model I'm working off of lately. So yeah, I don't know if that doesn't probably answer the question that clearly, but hopefully I'm having a lot of fun at work in some way, leading some great people and being a CEO maybe of some element of that organization. And then probably traveling a lot. If we have teams across the country, that probably helps me travel across the country quite a bit, which I'd love to do more of. I think this whole year, 2020, has kind of forced us to stay in the country a bit. And we have an amazing country that doesn't get explored that much. There's a lot of fun stuff to do around the country. So hopefully have some fun doing that. Probably have family at some point. So, enjoy that time as well. And the learning part of it's always a fun thing to tie in, obviously, with especially KW, having the access to the people we do, just, continuing that and whatever we learn, kind of pouring it back into the businesses, and finding a beach somewhere here and there to just chill out on.
Nice. I think that answered it.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's really good.
I think I danced around it enough to not give it the specific answer, right?
Who do you?
Oh yeah, okay. So every guest that comes on the show, I like to ask, who do you know that we should have on the podcast?
Smart guy in Austin, Gary Keller, is pretty smart. Maybe you should try and get him.
We got
I don't know if I could say that I know him yet, so maybe not a good call.
Well, I'll tell you a tip. Who was it that told us? They said,
Marianne.
Oh yeah, it was Marianne. You have to want Gary more. No, you have to want Gary on the podcast more than he doesn't want to be on the podcast.
You just have to, like I said before, if you want to go get Donald Trump, go get him. Like it's totally doable. You just have to, like you said, the same thing. You have to want to get him more than he doesn't want to be on the show. Yeah. Right. So you can get anybody. Who do I know though? I mean, there's some great people obviously in the KW community, but you could probably go outside of that and find some pretty cool ones too. That could be interesting for this. I mean, I would look to the KWIP group for sure for a lot of people, because there's a lot of great names that I'm sure you haven't had on yet that you could find throughout our company. The Ben Kinneys, Chris Suarez, the celebrities is what you call them, right? The Keller Williams celebrities. There's lots of those out there. David Brousseau, you should have David Brousseau on.
That would be it. Yeah, we should definitely.
Be really good.
He'd be good. Yeah, you should get him on. That's my answer.
Okay.
Nice.
That's my answer.
Yeah.
I know you got to wrap up soon. I think you have a call at 5, right?
Couple minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any final words? Like anything else you want to
add? What do you wish I talked about that I didn't talk about?
I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Well, what's your vision for us? Like, where do you see us going?
My vision is to help you get to whatever your vision is. I can't really have a vision for anybody, really. It's got to be. I could maybe help try and get some clarity around it, but you're yourself, right? You're your own thing. I'm not going to make up what your life looks like. So whatever that looks like for you is just to help you get to that. That's what I would say for that. Hopefully you get more clarity than I have on mine, and then we can definitely make sure you get there.
Okay. Well, thanks for being a great leader. We really appreciate you. Thanks so much for coming on today. We finally got you on the podcast, and we'll promote your podcast as well. Anything else?
No, that's it. So thank you for your time. We look forward to the new podcast too.
I would say one last thing I gotta say then. I would say I'm really excited to be on the show, but more so excited to see the show kind of taking off and thriving, and not doing 1 or 2 episodes and then just fizzling out, because I think that's something a lot of people do. So like anything, it takes some time to get things rolling and get off the, really momentum going. So it's exciting to watch, what you're doing with it. And I'm proud to see that happening. I would love to see it keep growing. And so all the best to keep doing that and have fun along the way. And it's been fun being a part of the show. I know I wasn't number one, but whatever number I am, I'm okay with it, I guess. I'll sleep at night after being on. At least I got on.
Sounds good.
That's awesome. Thank you.